You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. I don't know if it was just my headphones, but that intro was very loud my end. Was that loud for you?
I don't know, mate. I was just enjoying it. I just kind of... I didn't do the air guitar today, but it was all right, mate.
I've anyway, it's a new file, so I think I've done it wrong, but that was very loud. Apologies if that was loud for everybody watching. On to the main news of tonight, though. Leeds United 0, Aston Villa 1. Massive result at Elland Road. I was not expecting that before the game. I said on Twitter to somebody, I was having a little chat saying, I feel kind of semi-confident for some reason that we might be okay. And I thought, well, that leads on that we'll definitely be battered later today. But, you know, all the pre-match stuff that we did and all the comments that we were seeing on YouTube that fans were getting involved, we were saying, Leeds can be ruthless at times. This could be a 3 or 4-0 quite comfortably. I don't think there was many people, giving Villa much credit before the game started today. So I'm pretty happy with that. You?
No, I agree. I certainly didn't. I didn't expect Villa to emerge with a clean sheet and a win. But yeah, I mean, the same, weren't they? It was three times that Jack Grealish has been missing since we've returned to the Premier League, and we'd lost all three prior to today. So I think it's really important for Villa to step up and show that they can still be competitive and win matches at this level without Jack Grealish. I mean, listen, from an attacking point of view and from an aesthetics point of view, it wasn't spectacular, but I thought Villa really went and did a job on Leeds tonight. And credit to the manager, to be honest, for the changes that he made. They were bang on, and bringing Jacob Ramsey and Marvellous Nakamba into that midfield to kind of try and stifle Leeds and to kind of go toe-to-toe with them in terms of some of the energy that they got, really. I thought it was brilliant. And I think both of those two are undroppable, to be honest, for the next match. So credit to Dino and credit to those two lads who have come in and played really well.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, I don't know what the word is here, but we've talked previously about Dean Smith's tactical nous, and we were saying that, when we win, we sit here and go, oh, well, yeah, he's got it right there today. And when we lose, we go, oh, we could have done this different. But today, we almost regardless of the result, it made sense before kickoff today that anyone would have looked at that and said, Barkley has to be dropped. And arguably, people were saying, Louise hasn't had the best of times lately, but I wouldn't have been massively surprised if he started tonight. But Barkley had to be dropped. I put on Twitter when the team news came out, I was pretty surprised that Dean Smith had actually made those changes today. And someone replied to me saying, why are you surprised? And I was like, well, before today, Barkley's been poor and been pretty much undroppable. We've all been saying for weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, he should definitely be out the side, and that's only happened today. I also didn't think he would throw Jacob Ramsey straight in to play either. As much as he's clearly a talent, he's still a young kid, and away at Leeds, and like we said, they can be ruthless. I didn't think he'd throw Ramsey straight in there. So to start him from the off when he could put Sanson in there, the new guy for 15 million, Barkley's looked undroppable in terms of not his performances, but it just looks like he can't do anything wrong and he'll always be in the team. So I was surprised that Smith actually made those changes, and I said hopefully it pays off, and it absolutely did. Ramsey and Nakamba were marvellous. Nakamba was. I'm surprised someone's not used that somewhere else.
Marvellous and Jacobus, weren't they, to be honest? I think that the way he's handled Ramsey has been quite clever. I think he's given him. This is a negative phrase, and I don't mean it like this. When I say enough rope to hang himself, I don't mean it like that at all. But I think he's given him enough opportunities to try and impress, and he's tolerated a couple of the little kind of hissy fits and stuff like that. But Smith in his press conference on Friday morning was doing a really good job of bigging up Ross Barkley and saying what he thinks he's capable and stuff like that. And I think it's important because listen, even if Marvellous Nakamba and Jacob Ramsey, and we've seen a bit more of Morgan Sanson, even if they're in his team and Barkley's on the bench for the next 2 or 3 weeks, Smith knows that he's still going to need Ross Barkley at some stage. And I think his man management has been brilliant there. There's probably a few of us Villa fans who are scratching our heads in the last couple of times Smith's spoken about Barkley and bigged him up a lot. Smith knew he was going to drop him, didn't he? So he can't drop him and hang him out to dry, basically. So I thought it was good management. It's another thing from the performance is didn't play well at Brighton for most of the 90. Didn't really start playing well. Well, didn't play full pelt against Leicester. Improved after the first half. So again, we've said it time and time again, but you don't have a run of too many bad performances from this team. And they've gone there tonight on a strange old pitch. They managed to kind of be on the front foot enough to take the advantage. And then I thought they conceded a bit too much territory to Leeds in the second half. I thought the kind of sucker punch was going to come. But again, they've been organised, they've been disciplined with the Nakamba, with Ramsey and with McGinn. They've been kind of hunting in packs, really, to protect that defence. So, I can't speak highly enough of them all, really, today.
Yeah, I think McGinn was also back to his usual self today as well. And that midfield trio just worked well together. I think they looked like a good combination and a good unit. I think it was interesting that Smith made the comments about not being a one-man team earlier in the week or last week or whenever it was after Grealish goes missing. And those kind of comments are always risky, aren't they? Because if you have another terrible performance, people go, well, I think you are a one-man team. But I think the positive spin on it is that we could sit here for the next half an hour and pretty much highlight any player in that starting 11 tonight and go, oh, he was quite good. And that's exactly what Villa needed, and especially after Smith's comments as well. Not a single player looked off it tonight. Even El Ghazi, we've kind of flipped and flopped between, he looks great, and no, he's nowhere near it. Tonight comes in, looks lively, scores a goal and wins us the game, and that's exactly what you want to see from players that are coming in to fill in for injuries.
So let's highlight him then. I thought he was really good. I probably would have given Ramsey man of the match, if I'm being honest. I thought all of our El Ghazi's good work, best work came first half. But I don't think you can have any complaints. I thought that little kind of sneaky look that he gave across to the lino when he scored. He's another one of these, El Ghazi, who sometimes, I don't know, I think that, I don't know whether I'm, alone in this, but I think he's a better and a more valuable player than some of us give him credit for sometimes. It's easy to say that when he scored, he scored the winning goal. And, next week, if he's anonymous, we'll probably kind of dig him out again. But what was it, 6 goals? He scored now. I think 6 in the Prem and 1. Did he score 1 in the Cup as well? I think so. That's not bad for a winger who hasn't, he's probably started half the games, if that, so far this season. I think it's a brilliant return. And it also provided the most hilarious moment. Did you hear Jermaine Beckford's punditry at half time?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see any of the half time stuff.
Oh, right. Well, he was saying they're talking about, Jack Grealish not being available and who was going to kind of, come to the forefront and and be the one who shone in Jack's absence. And I think Jermaine Beckford was trying to say that El Ghazi stepped up and taken the mantle, but he said, El Ghazi stepped up and taken the mantelpiece, which I thought was... I mean, to be fair, he did have a decent half. But,
good, good. Have you been preparing that since half time?
I'm joking.
Speaking about man of the match, you said there about Ramsey being yours. I thought Mings was outstanding, to be honest. I mean, we again kind of flip flops a little bit like the El Ghazi situation, that we come and do these, and occasionally it's Mings had made this mistake, and people are piling in on the comments. And then a few weeks later, just God, a colossal defender, what a hero! Quite interested. Actually, there's 350 people watching live as we speak right now. Get comments in there. Who is your man of the match this afternoon? Between Nakamba and Mings for me is who I'd go with. But like I said, because it feels like such a kind of team effort to go there and beat Leeds, it's hard to kind of single anyone out. Is that also fair? And it's hard. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to just go, he was the reason. Obviously, El Ghazi scored the goal, but not an overall man of the match performance. I think that Mings defending and what Nakamba brought to the midfield is a better way of highlighting an individual performance in a team performance. I know what I mean in my head. It makes no sense when I say it out loud.
To me, it was. I don't think it was a defensive performance in terms of Villa didn't show any adventure at all. Because I think they did, but to me, you probably are highlighting. You're probably giving the man of the match award today to somebody who's been responsible for helping the clean sheet. And I think you're right in that Nakamba, Ramsey, Mings were all able to help do that. I thought Watkins was good as well, to be honest, considering Smith said in his post. Say again.
Great assist. It's definitely a shot, wasn't it?
The pictures probably helped there because he slipped and picked out, played a decoy cross into El Ghazi's feet.
Also, just on the goal quickly before you move on, great touch from El Ghazi to bring it down as well. I didn't quite realise at the time he controlled it well and then tapped it home as well.
Listen, I'm probably being really, from going from under, not rating him enough. I didn't think he actually meant that. I thought it was a bit of a clumsy touch, and then he fell and he just kind of reacted quickly to his own half.
Oh well, we'll take it. It doesn't matter, does it? It was a mishit anyway. It was a mishit shot that, thanks to the pitch, was a cross. El Ghazi may have miscontrolled it, but he's got it under his touch and started it away. Villa win 1-0. How it happened is irrelevant.
Yeah, but in terms of, I thought Watkins was good. He chased everything again, and I think with Jack missing, Watkins was probably doing a lot of his work down that left side. A lot of his running down there. I thought he was good. And shout out for, we don't go through the whole team, but shout out for Al Mohammadi as well, because I feared within the first, 30 seconds or a minute when Rafinha had got, Bamford slipped, didn't he? And he kind of snuck in around the back. But again, whether it was because, Al Mohammadi put in a decent performance. I think he got a lot of good protection as well. And another thing that I wanted to mention was the kind of, I don't know whether bravery is the word, but there was a couple of things that kind of caught my attention. Obviously, McGinn had a bloodied nose at some stage and was still just powering on with it with blood, dripping from his nose. And then, Martinez was having painkillers because he got a groin problem and stuff like that. So, listen, you don't want your players that are kind of running themselves into the ground so that it causes serious injury. We had Andy Gray on, didn't we, last week, talking about how he put his body on the line and didn't necessarily get the thanks for it. But it's nice to know that the players are that keen to power on through for the good of Villa, that they will kind of, battle on through these setbacks.
I like how you always get a cheeky plug into a previous podcast that we've done. Whenever we had a guest, it's just you just slip it in there. Oh yeah, we spoke to Andy Gray last week. For the people that don't know, I like that. Smith was asked about McGinn from Ash Pre. He says confirms Emi Martinez has picked up a tight groin in the second half as Villa centre backs took his goal kicks. Just sums up the team shift that everyone did tonight. Everyone fighting for the cause as they chalk up their 13th clean sheet from 24 games. Something of that was Ash's words rather than Dean Smith, but Smith confirming that it's a little groin tweak for Martinez, which hopefully doesn't keep him out for any time at all, because he'd be a massive miss.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact stat. Is it perhaps three clean sheets or two? I think it's either 2 or 3 short of the record that Brad Friedel kept.
I think Friedel got 15 and it's 16 to beat it, or Friedel got 16, so it's 16 to match it.
Yeah, so
yeah,
Villa should be confident. Yeah, without me jinxing it, Villa should be confident of doing that. Just another thing that's popped into my head. I know this is a bit stream of consciousness, random stuff, but oh god, what about? But was it Laurenti on the?
Someone's just mentioned that in the comments, and I was about to try and work it in. Like what Jazz has said about Laurenti, I can't repeat on air, but basically saying he's a something. Now I'll let you fill in the blank. That was pathetic, wasn't it?
It was so pathetic.
If that was Grealish for Villa doing that, can you imagine what the Leeds fans would have been like?
Well, yeah. Well, we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen 2 years ago when Bamford kind of the ghost push managed to get Bamford onto the deck. I think Ollie Watkins should go and administer the vaccine, because he's clearly got amazing healing powers. Because as soon as he laid his hands on your Leeds man, he was back up. He had a miraculous recovery and he was back up. But what I will say, in the interests of fairness, I thought that Matt Targett, when Tyler Roberts was booked, Matt Targett was hamming it up a little bit then. Kind of. I think that Roberts swung the ball at him, didn't he? And then Targett went down holding his thigh or his leg or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit of drama queeniness going on both sides, shall we say?
I do like that from Watkins though, because he knows that he's not really done anything there. And to be fair, I think that Laurenti did take a little bit of a knock or a little, painful kick out of the leg or something, obviously an accident. But the way he's rolling around, you're looking at, I'm watching it going, oh, mate, look, if you were seriously injured, you wouldn't be rolling around. And then the commentator said those exact words. And then Watkins has clearly seen there's nothing wrong with him, tried to pick him up, and he's up like a shot. And it's like, oh, mate, this is pathetic at this point. There's a lot of comments when I was asking just about man of the match. Lots for Nakamba in the comments on Facebook and YouTube Live. A few for Mings as well. A couple of shouts for Ollie Watkins, but only a couple. Nobody else for Ramsey, Matt. You're on your own there, but he did play well, to be fair, but not man of the match level. But
not everybody can tell my wisdom, can they? It's Did you think? I know that you're normally the one asking the questions, but I'm just unloading whatever in my head. Did you think it's a penalty within the first couple of minutes? Because I thought that was played down massively. It was almost. Do you know what I mean? Normally, there's a big inquest into these things.
And it's played down to such a degree, I can't even think at this stage what penalty incident.
El Ghazi whipped a cross in and he hit Ayling's hand, or Ayling's hand hit it. Did you not?
Nah, not a penalty for me. His arm's by his side. I say this.
Start talking about arm positions, for God's sake.
This is what I was about to say. We've had so much faff this year about how the rules were interpreted, and I'm sure at one stage, if it just hit your arm, no matter where the position was or whether it was accidental, I'm sure that was a penalty at some stage. So based off the rules at some point this season, that could have been given. It definitely hit his arm, but his arm is, you can't really see it on here, and the audio listeners definitely can't see it, but it was near his stomach. So I think if it just hits you there and the ball's come to you, that's not handball. If your arm's out here or you move towards the ball, that's handball. That's how I would interpret it if I was a ref, not a pen.
I'm not sure. I think it definitely deserved a VAR check.
Well, I mean, going off what we keep being told, they would have looked at that because it I don't know. Did they look at it? Who knows? Who knows?
Having said that, again, in the interest of fairness, I think it looked like Target had a little tug at Bamford, didn't it, in the close? Not a little tug, full stop. Sorry, that was
the worst time pause ever. That
was an unfortunate time to take a breath, wasn't it? Had a little tug at filth, you're just pure filth.
It's not filth, it's just immaturity.
Moving on.
The comments, people saying penalties have been given less for this season. Then literally 2 comments in a row. Stuart Piper says not a penalty, and then Sean literally underneath him says pen all the way. It's one of those ones, isn't it? Some people just look at it and interpret the rules one way and go, well, it's hit his arm, it's handball. And then some people look at it and go, well, it's by his arm, it's not intentional. If that was a Villa player, I'd be going, shut up, mate, that's not handball. So I'm not going to sit here and ask for either. If we'd have lost today or not won, maybe I'd have been going, let's talk about that handball. So not really that bothered, to be honest.
No, listen, I can live. I can live with it now that Villa have won the game.
Just talking about referees very quickly, and this isn't Villa related, so I'm not going to go on it for too long. But did you see the Lee Mason stuff earlier with Albion? That free kick goal for Brighton that was given. He did blow, and then he was saying he blew twice. But why would you blow twice?
See, in a packed stadium, you could have got away with saying, "Oh, that whistle came from the crowd" or something. But when there's no crowd there, I don't know. It just seemed a bit crazy, to be honest. But we've had enough refereeing controversies in Villa games without having to talk about one just down the road. So
yeah, fair enough. I don't really know what else to add to this one, to be honest, really, because it was such, like we said a few times, it was such a well-rounded team performance that it's hard to kind of sit here and talk about too many individual performances. I suppose the flip side of it then is what happens to Ross Barkley and Douglas Luiz now. Because at one stage, Douglas Luiz is, I mean, if it wasn't for Jack Grealish last year, I think Douglas Luiz won our Player of the Year vote. He came second by some distance to third place. Obviously, Grealish ran away with it. So Douglas Luiz is massively important, clearly a very, very talented player. Ross Barkley has shown glimpses before his injury that he comes in and improves Villa's side as well. Obviously, fair enough to say that he shouldn't be anywhere near it at the moment. But you've got 2 big players there sat on the bench, while you've got Nakamba, who was a big part player even last season, and Ramsey, a 19-year-old, coming in and starting games and playing well. So what happens to Luiz and Barkley now? Is it just a case of they keep the strokes they played?
What happened? It's a bit of a stupid question, Dan, if you don't mind me saying.
No, go for
it. They're both slamming transfer requests, clear the lockers and drive off in their high-powered sport cars at 150 miles an hour. Or they could be they could be on the bench and wait for their turn and get back in. I'd suggest the latter, but I'm being a bit of a cheeky arse.
You are.
Listen, we've talked about Villa wanting a squad, haven't we? So, professional footballers, and they've not got to the level that they've got at by having everything their own way all the time. So if they have to work harder, I'll be gutted for Ramsey or Nakambi if they're not in that team. I think, is it Sheffield United?
Sheffield United and then Newcastle next. Actually, just speaking about those, it's Sheffield United, Wolves, Newcastle. And Wolves obviously haven't been the side that they were of last season, but they're still obviously a decent side. Sheffield United still right down there. And who's the other one? Newcastle, which obviously we all know how poor they've been. Looking ahead at that next three now, how many points are we saying for that? What do we think? And again, this is all a bit hypothetical nonsense, isn't it, really? But you look at that now, we just beat Leeds, kind of found a little bit of a rhythm, and I'm looking at those next three thinking, some points to be had there. 6 or 7 at least.
Sheffield United, not that the location makes a massive difference. Sheffield United away and Newcastle away, isn't it? And Wolves at home.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it's. I don't want to get too carried away after a win again, but you've got to be looking for what? You've got to be looking for 5 or 6 points from those, haven't you?
At least 6, yeah.
So
I think there's nothing stopping us getting 9, to be honest.
Well, there's 3 teams in there potentially stopping us getting 9, but Villa in good shape again now. 8th, I'm just looking at the table now. 8th in the league, 39 points. What we're looking. I mean, the W was asked, I think, at the end in the punditry, can Villa make the Champions League? And, he gave it the year. There's no reason why not, and all this kind of stuff. Well, can Villa challenge for the Champions League places? 6 points? 6 points off West Ham in 4th, with 2 games in hand on West Ham in 4th. So, last week and the week before were doom and gloom because it'd be flat as anything against Brighton, and we kind of started really slowly against Leicester. So if somebody called time on the season now, blew the final whistle on the season now, and Villa finished 8th, I'd be pretty content with that. But yeah, I don't want to make too many proclamations because it's still going to be topsy-turvy, isn't it? I still think Villa, stating the obvious alert, still think Villa need Jack Grealish back in there to truly be, could Villa have a possible dabble of finishing in the top 6 stroke top 4? Yes, I think is a very, very, very outside possibility of it. Will they do that if Jack Grealish is out for any longer than a month? I don't think so, because I think,
Well, you say that, but if we win our next 3 and he misses all 3, it doesn't matter whether he played or not.
No, I'm just saying I don't think we will win our next 3 if Jack Grealish is there, to be honest.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough.
But I do, well, we'll see what the prognosis is, but hopefully he'll be back.
I disagree with that to a certain extent. I think we should be able to beat Sheffield United without him, so that's one more game. I think you could probably beat Newcastle without him as well, because it's just a case of breaking down that Newcastle defence and them setting up to be miserable and boring. Obviously, Jack Grealish would help that, but there's nothing to suggest that the backup squad can't do that. They're poor sides. Villa should be beating them, with or without Grealish, if Villa's ambitions are to break into the top 6.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm sure those are the ambitions, and I'm sure Villa would fancy the chances to beat them, beat those teams without Grealish. But again, stating the obvious, having him in the team would enhance their chances of winning those games.
You've got an answer for everything tonight, haven't you? I knew you were going to be in one of these moods.
I've had an afternoon nap. I've been for a bit of a stroll this morning around Woodgate Valley, and
nice.
So had my stroll, had a brunch stroke breakfast. Then I got the munchies, mate. To be honest, I had these little Kit Kat eggs and a piece of my son's birthday cake. So I had to sleep it all off. So I'm now revived and ready for my tea.
I mean, that's a very middle-aged man thing to say, isn't it? That you had a bit of cake this afternoon and had to go and have a nap. That's very old.
Mate, what you see is what you get with me, I'm afraid, mate. You're not going to get... What do you think I'm going to be doing, going to a roller disco or something? I don't know. What do you kids today do? I don't know.
Good point. To be fair, I've not done a fat lot either, and we're getting massively off topic here. Just want to wrap this up with the kind of aspirations for the season. We just said we don't want to make too many predictions because it's a false game, really. But I don't want to keep talking about Europe too much, because if we lose the next one and win the next one, lose the next one, at some point we're going to go, oh, well, Villa aren't going to do it, so let's just forget about it. And that's fair enough. The season has still got a little bit to go. Very happy with the way that we're going. Let's leave it there. What would you like not be happy with finishing now? If we look at that league table, is it a case of if you don't finish in that top 10, that's a disappointing season, considering how good we were for the first 19, 18 games?
I don't think it really can be a disappointing season. Regarding if Villa, listen, I don't want to jinx this, but if Villa lost their remaining 14 games, I still don't think it could be classed a disappointing season because they've still achieved, to be safe, which Villa are now, to be safe by the 27th of February. If you'd have said that in August, would it be a disappointing season for you if Villa was safe by the 27th of February? But no, listen, given the platform that we've given ourselves, I'd be a little bit upset if we finished outside the top 10, but it's not going to really affect my life massively if we finish 11th.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
That's the problem with kind of mid-table obscurity, isn't it? That finishing 8th to 14th makes no difference really, apart from I think the clubs get prize money, which is pretty much irrelevant at Premier League level. But it doesn't really matter, does it? If you finish 8th on 50 points or 14th on 45 points, the gap is pretty marginal, really. So, yes, in that sense, it doesn't really matter whether you finish anywhere between 9th and 13th. But given how good Villa have been, I think if we didn't finish inside that top 10, because on that little table that we can see here, we can't see the bottom half. I can't really think of anyone in the bottom half off the top of my head that I think they'd be more deserving of finishing in that top 10. I think if you look at all that top 10 there, they're pretty much all been the best, obvious statement, but they've all been the best side. So that top 10 looks pretty fair to me. Even Leeds being in there as 10th, we're above Tottenham, Everton, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc., etc. So
yeah, well, just to that top 10,
that's good.
Just to remind you, 11th are Arsenal, 12th are Wolves. And then you've got Wolves. Then you've got Southampton, Crystal Palace, then Southampton. Now Southampton started brightly. Arsenal, you would expect to pick up, but Villa should finish top 10. The squad is proving itself good enough, even with the setbacks. We've said this earlier in the season, didn't we? And we say it probably every other week, but with people stepping up when players have been missing, and that's happened again today. And the Canberra and Ramsey have stepped up. Yeah. Al-Mahmadi to a point has stepped up and played his part in a clean sheet as well. So there's no reason why Villa can't finish in the top 10. But being philosophical about it, we were already so far ahead of schedule to where we expected to be. That if we finish 12th, we won't be a disaster by any means. And what I would say, and this is, people might raise their eyebrows at this, but I want Villa to keep building year on year under Dean Smith. He's got a lot of credit in the bank because what he's already delivered, and because he's such a thoroughly nice fella, and because he's one of us. But I actually think we can build something lasting, and I'm just a little bit cautious. It's stupid if somebody said if Villa could finish in the top 4 this season, would you want it? Of course I would, but I'm a little bit cautious that we don't set expectations too high this season. That if we got into the top 6 and then next season we finished 10th. That a crisis starts again. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in a roundabout way. I also think there's an element of, when people say about, you can get promoted too soon, you can get into Europe too soon, and we've saying, that's just nonsense, because if you get there, you'll build the side that you need to hopefully manage the situation. I think there's an element of being too good ahead of yourself that, I'm going the opposite way to what you just said, that yes, you can drop off and that will be a disaster. But if Villa get top 4 this season and 5th next year, you're then looking at all your players getting nabbed by other teams at the top and then being fallen off the other way. Like Villa 10 years ago under O'Neill, that were always sixth. And then people start going to Man City and Liverpool, etc. And then you fall apart that way.
Probably all getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we're absolutely getting ahead of ourselves. We're hitting 29 minutes and we've run out of things to talk about.
I was even scared to predict how we get on in the next game against Sheffield United, and now we're discussing what's going to happen in the next 14 years when Jack Grealish is the player manager and all. Now we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Just getting a tiny bit ahead of myself to tomorrow morning. Another plug for a podcast that we did about 4 or 5 months ago. I finally transcribed and tapped up the interview that we did with Andy Vyman.
Good episode.
That's an epic read for anybody. We'll ping the link to that on our social media, on Claret and Blue social media and my own. But yeah, so that I was reliving it all again. It was really
it's probably too much.
It was really interesting.
It's probably a good way of doing it, doing the big written piece like a little bit further down the line to kind of refresh it again. That's probably, yeah. Can you send me that? I mean, this is an off-air conversation at this point, but I would quite like to see that.
It's live at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, mate, so I'll send you the link, but you won't be able to read it until then. So,
okay. All right, well,
are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Right. Thank you very much for joining me, Matt. And thanks to the 500 people that are now watching. There was only 300 20 minutes ago. It must be all the Leeds fans have finally logged on. Although we've had no negative comments, weirdly. So it can't be Leeds fans. Just lots of very happy with the fans this evening on Saturday night. Thanks everyone who joined us. Thanks for all your comments. As always, very difficult to kind of read through them all and put questions to both of us because they're coming through thick and fast. But we'll be back again on, is it Wednesday? Villa play next? Wednesday, 3rd of March against Sheffield United, which should be a routine victory, I would have thought, and if not, I'll be very disappointed. You can't yeah, I know. So we'll be back again on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, is it? Oh, we've got to get it right. Play at 6 o'clock. So, yeah.
You're going to play at 12 o'clock on Wednesday.
I mean, is it like Wednesday evening or Wednesday night? There's a difference between Wednesday evening and Wednesday night. Do you not think?
Do you call it dinner or tea?
Tea.
Yeah, your evening meal's definitely tea, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're opening up a can of worms here to people that aren't.
Breakfast, dinner, and tea.
That's a black country.
We'll make sure we've got the right. We've got the right class of followers. It's breakfast, dinner, and tea. All right. So if you call your dinner, this podcast's not for you. Go on.
People will say that tea is a drink. That's the retort I usually get. Oh yeah, exactly. Somebody says crumpet or pikelet.
Crumpet. Oh, yeah. Is it the shape though? Is a crumpet a round one and a pikelet the thin one?
People say that the pikelet is thinner, but I've heard people call pikelets crumpets just because they've used two different words for it depending on where you're from, and it's definitely pikelet. What's
the difference between a cob and a bap?
A cob, I think, has got a hard top, and a bap is like soft, like a burger bap.
Something you'd have like a burger on.
Yeah, a cob is
like a burger. You'd have a sesame. Listen, we can get into this another day, can't we?
If anything, this is a branch out podcast. We could do like food reviews and stuff. That'd be quite good. But yeah, we're definitely getting out of here now. Thanks to the 100 people left in the last couple of minutes, by the way, which is always funny. But yeah, thank you very much for those that stuck with us even during the nonsense. Thanks to everyone who's watching this not live. Get involved on YouTube comment sections. Get involved in the big debate of the night, whether it's breakfast, dinner, tea, and crumpet or pikelet. Also, just before we go, very quickly, scone or scone?
Scone, because of the joke.
Oh,
it's not scone. What? There's a joke. What's the fastest cake in the world? Scone. You can't. That doesn't work with scone.
Just don't tell the jokes. It's not very funny anyway.
Well, I didn't say it was a funny joke. I'm just saying the joke won't work otherwise.
Yeah, but
should we go?
It's scone though. Yeah, we'll definitely go. I was gonna say get out of here, but I can't. I'm gonna be scone soon. Does that work? Is that the same?
I'm gonna be scone soon.
Somebody, Keith Wilkins said that it's scone. So
that's clearly up.
That's useful.
What work does it in written form?
Not really. Definitely getting out of it. I'm going to press end broadcast. Thank you very much to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you again